Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Brown Ballers podcast. I'm your host, Nav.
I'm G.
And we are sitting here in a hotel room with a very special guest, Canadian music icon, Juno-nominated artist, over 1 billion streams, TikTok viral superstar, and so many more things, but I don't have time to say it right now. Tesher.
Yo.
What's going on, brother?
How's it going?
How was that? Was that a good?
That was lovely.
Was that decent?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I tried to practice
like,
it, but we just...
Who's on the podcast? Not me. No.
Man, we're so excited to have you here. It's been a journey and a half for you guys to get here. We're not going to talk about that right now. But what we are going to kick it off with is India Rising.
Yes.
You're here. We're here at the TBT. We're literally going to play in like 2 hours from now.
Jesus,
ESPN,
wow.
Millions of people are going to watch us play.
Jesus.
You're going to be sitting courtside, looking good. Maybe throwing out some plays out there. Maybe catching a lob. Who knows?
No. I'm gonna just try to be as distracting as I can to the other team.
There we go. We need that. That's what we need.
Exactly.
Yep.
How do you feel being here? What does this all mean to you being here?
Oh man, I'm just excited about it. I think that anything that I can be a part of to help push the culture forward, I'll be there in whatever capacity I can be. Amazing that today that capacity is actually being at the game.
Yeah.
Listen, above all, I'm just ready to see some brown guys absolutely tear it up. And that's what it's all about. Yeah.
That's what it's all about, the representation. I'm going to let G explain this part, but we kind of talked about this a little bit before. You know, this is the Brown Ballers podcast, but we're trying to redefine that term, ballers, and what that means. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, people think ballers, they think basketball players, but ballers is so much more than that. It's entrepreneurs, musicians, creatives. And what we're really trying to do on this pod is basically show the world that, you know, let's defeat any brown stereotype that exists out there, bring people who are breaking the mold into the fold, and just share their stories with the world.
Yeah.
So we're super excited to have you on as our first guest and really excited to do this.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that first guest. So again,
wow. Okay.
Pressure's on. Yeah, no, pressure's on.
All right.
So like I said, the goal is to inspire the next generation. Like I said, can we inspire the next Tesher to come up because of your story and how you become who you are today?
For sure.
Let's go back to the roots a little bit. Canadian boy. You know, I love that. Yeah. Obviously, Edmonton, born and raised Canadian.
Yeah.
What was it like just kind of growing up in Canada? Give us like a little backstory there.
For sure. Well, I grew up in Regina, Saskatchewan, so not the most traditional place. It's not. I know everyone always thinks I'm like from like Brampton or like or like somewhere in like Surrey or something, or even Calgary, Edmonton or something. But like, no, I'm from Saskatchewan, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think the effect of that is that there wasn't as large of a brown community as there were in the other cities in Canada. So that obviously has an effect on your upbringing a bit. I think I'm happy the way it worked because there was still enough of a South Asian influence, both like at home and then also just like in the community, but it wasn't so great to the degree where it could have isolated me away. Because sometimes I see like especially a lot of my friends that have grown up in like Saga and Brampton, like they grow up and like they're almost like their whole world is just brown people, you know, like their clique at school is all brown people. Yeah. You know, they go to the like Mandir Mosque Gurdwara on Sunday. That's all just brown people, right? They play sports, their extracurriculars, mostly brown people. And I think it just like, it's great, fantastic, but it gets, you know, obviously it gets a little homogenous sometimes, right? I think the thing with me is that there were brown folks, but there's also, you know, it was mostly all my friends were white, and then had some, you know, black friends, Hispanics. It was kind of a thing that forced me to kind of, you know, you learn about different cultures as you make friends and you learn about each other. And as far as that affected my kind of development through music, I'd go to school and we'd be talking about hip hop, pop music of the day. So like, you know, a lot of 50 Cent, Eminem, Justin Timberlake, I guess, like kind of like that 2005, 2006. That's like the best era for me. Like early, this is pre-graduation Kanye.
So many good tracks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, graduation Kanye is great too, but and then you go home and it's like Bollywood music, right? And Punjabi music, Bhangra music, right? And so it was kind of like, you know, it'd be easy to say it's like, oh, I was confused or something, but I don't think there was any confusion there. I think it was just a great mix. And then it was up to me to find a way to merge those two together. and that kind of manifested as it did into where we are today.
I love it. I think one of my favorite things about Canada is, like you said, the diversity. I think it's something we can all relate to. Is like, I mean, this guy's traveled all over the world and lived everywhere. So it's like those experiences and those people you meet, like you said, like that helps mold you into who you are, because you're not just stuck to one type of person or one type of mindset. So I love that. And just to kind of touch on the Kanye side a little bit, if I did my research correctly, I believe you were inspired by Kanye heavily.
Yes.
With your music. So like, can you touch on that side a little bit?
For sure. I think, Kanye is a guy who, he even says himself, he's got a belt in 2 classes, because he's an incredible rapper, and then he's also an incredible producer. And so that, when I was coming up, like I didn't really like have any, I didn't really have any like friends to like go to about music stuff, because they weren't really into that kind of stuff. They were all just into, sports and what have you, just not really into music, right? So it was all just really just me in my basement, just having fun. So I had to learn how to produce. It all really started from production. For me, it actually started from making remixes and mashups, and then that kind of filtered into me making beats. I didn't really become like, I didn't find a way that I wanted my voice to sound up until like I was in university. But I kind of looked at Kanye as a guy, and I'm like, okay, he figured out his production first, and then he's like, okay, this is kind of how I could sound on a track. And then I think what that does is that once you've done those 2 things, like things that most people in the industry don't do both of, it kind of gives you the confidence to do even more things. Because now I mix and master everything too. Right, so now I'm the engineer on the tracks, right? And then I started doing the artwork. And then I started doing like all the distribution, right? Yep. You just get more confidence as you do that, and you learn more things. I think and I think that also helps you, become a businessman and be successful in that respect too. Because again, the Kanye example, partnerships with like Adidas and like Gap and Yeezy and everything. Yeah. But I think he's only really successful because he was in those, he was in the fashion houses working on the fabrics. He made the beats. He was actually on the ground working, so he knows how to do a good job there, right? And I think that, in any business, like even you own a restaurant, you better know how to make the sandwich yourself before you go and hire somebody. So I think I always try to look at his career and things that he's done. A lot of different people, but Kanye is always kind of a guy that came up in my time a little bit. Yeah. So I always look at it as a point of inspiration.
What's the favorite Kanye album or track?
Favorite Kanye tracks, honestly, it's a bit of a deep cut. It's called Christian Dior Denim Flow. Okay. It's 8 minutes long.
Okay.
And it has like everything from like, just like a heavy 808 breakdown. There's like a string breakdown. The chorus, he mixed it in a way that it's like Kid Cudi and John Legend singing at the same time, but you can't tell which one's singing where. So it's like a technological wonder of and like the lyrics and like Lloyd Banks from G Unit is on there.
That's fire.
Like it's like
that's a throwback name.
Nice. Yeah,
right?
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Exactly, right? What? So it's like that song was like, it's like it blew my mind. I'm like, this guy's literally firing on all cylinders. So
that's amazing.
Just to nerd out on the music side for a second. Yeah. So for the music fans out there listening in, like when you started in production, probably not GarageBand, right? Like what were you using?
Yeah, FL Studio. Actually, no, it wasn't FL Studio. That came afterwards. Funny enough, it was Adobe Premiere.
Okay, wow.
To make music. Because I'll tell you, my dad had a my dad has always been like a tinkerer. Yeah. Like he was like build computers back in the day when there was obviously no YouTube or anything. And so he was just really into tech. And then people started to, there was like Indian weddings and birthdays and stuff. And he's like, well, there's nobody doing the video services here. Let me just do that as like a side hustle. And then he started editing, and he learned Adobe Premiere. And I was like, I want to mix music and stuff. I'm like really young at this point. So my dad had Adobe Premiere on all the computers. So I was like, oh, there's like audio, like the audio tracks there, and you could speed things up and slow things down. So that's all I did to like make the early mashups. That's where it started. From there, but I very quickly realized, I'm like, why am I using video editing software to make the audio? And then though. it was used a program called Mixcraft for a while.
Yeah.
And then Fruity Loops, and I never looked.
Fruity Loops, nice. Well, I mean, that's already one South Asian stereotype right there. Your parents were supportive of music from day one.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yes, nice. For sure. My dad was always really like into music. Like till this day, he sends me demos. Like he's actually in like
that's cool.
Like the garage band of these days. I don't know if you guys know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And like, but he like makes these demos in GarageBand. And he like sends me ideas and stuff. Like I sometimes whenever I need help for like Hindi Punjabi lyrics sometimes or need a soundboard, he'll come in and like kind of help me out with it. So
that's amazing.
I feel like he would have made it if the internet was a thing in the 80s. You know, so
really,
he's
that's
one of those guys.
He's good with all the loops in there and knows.
Oh yeah, exactly. He's like, I know I'm not the best on production, but I can make something cool and I'll give it to you, and you can see that and turn it into something else. And I'm like, man, this is
he's
great.
the producer credit.
Yeah, for sure.
Does he have one?
No, I mean we haven't done a thing yet. I've just been busy on my own stuff.
That's gonna be fire. Father son.
That's coming soon though, right?
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna get one for sure. Yeah.
And we'll see him in a music video maybe one day.
100%.
Oh yeah,
100%.
We need to see that.
Oh
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Stay on the remixes. One of my favorite ones is like the Old Town Road remix.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if you know this, but we got a fellow DJ right here.
No way.
This is a mix master over here.
Oh man.
Trying to get inspired by all the Desi remixes you're making, that's for sure.
Wow.
So quick question on all that though.
No, I have a question. What's your DJ name?
Yo Gotti. That's mine. Yeah. Gotham and then Yo Gotti.
Oh, yeah. I was like, there already is a Yo Gotti.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Imagine if I was just like, I'm just going to also be that.
Yeah.
Same spelling. Just hopefully I can get more famous than the real OG.
Than the real Yo Gotti. I like that though. That's a play on your name.
That is it. But I was just curious, like obviously Desi hip hop remixes, that scene, like it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, and of course, Jalebi Baby is incredibly mainstream, dominating the dance team circuit stuff, but a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Like, were you part of that scene? Like, did you dance? Like, where does your, I guess, influence come from?
Yeah. I'll tell you. So we did have like dance teams in Regina and stuff, but we didn't like have competitions.
Right.
And
okay.
stuff.
So it's different.
Like we didn't like, how I actually learned about like how in America there's like all these different, every university has a team and you guys have to travel for competitions. I didn't know any of that until like I was close to the end of university. And I had no idea that people were using my mixes in these, like people in that world knew who I was. And I was just a guy in my basement. I had no clue.
You didn't know they were using your stuff?
Not at all.
They weren't tagging you, huh?
Not at all. Things have gotten a lot better now.
Yeah.
But the way I knew is that like, people started to hit me up then for mixes. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like, sure. I like, this is back. I didn't really do a lot of commission work because I never really did it at that time to make money. It was just like a fun thing to do after school or like after work. But they're like, hey, we have this dance team and we're competing. And I learned about all that. And kind of blew my mind. Cool. It's funny. I won a best mix award at some tournament. They sent me a picture of it. So it's in some random person's house. So yeah, I did that. I think I won best mix in Bollywood America or some shit like that. Yeah, I don't know if it's Bollywood America. I don't know. They all kind of blend together for me. Yeah. But no, I had no, I didn't come from that world. What I did come from though is from DJing. And I think when you DJ, you learn what people are going to react to. Like when we were shooting the music video for Jalebi Baby, funny enough, one of Jason's dancers, like kind of in between takes, we just have a little fun dance battles, keep our energy up. And this guy was just going off. He was just in the zone. And he comes to me afterwards. I'm like, man, you killed it. He's like, man, I haven't heard a song with transitions before. And a popular song with transitions in a long time. And I'm like, what is he talking about? And then I listened to it again. It's like, it's so true. Like all the DJing and like the remixes I was making, you put in little effects to build tension, and I inadvertently have made that part of my production style. And I think that's why people like to dance to my music, because I made them for like the dance floor. Like I used to make music for the dance floor. So now when I just make beats, like I have the foresight to see, or at least guess how this is going to translate to a dance floor of people or to a dance routine. It's just baked into my mental process of years of making music and being in that world. So it's found its way into me somehow.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like Nav and I were talking about this earlier too. Like for DJing, do you think DJing influenced the production, or the production started before the DJing? And like what BPM do you like to live at? Like what range?
I think the production, I've always been more of a production guy.
Yeah.
I like DJing was fun, but like I was always more about like let's like try to make things and stuff like that.
Yeah, like create something fresh.
Exactly. Yeah. Where BPM I'm usually living at. Honestly, usually somewhere between 90 and 105.
Okay.
Yeah, because like you can rap there, reggaeton is there, Afro beats is there. You can, it's just got a good groove to it. But yeah, I kind of also got turned off from anything above 125 just because.
You don't like drum and bass?
No, here's the thing. I actually do like drum and bass. It's just like, man, like going to the club in university, just EDM all the time.
Yeah,
and I'm
fair
just,
enough.
You're over it.
A little over it. I've been scarred. Yeah.
So staying on the musical side and some of your tracks, obviously, there's been a lot of dope ones, a lot of viral ones. Young Shahrukh. Can you tell us like some context there, how that got started? Because I kind of saw a story online about you didn't expect that song to take off and go viral, and that was a song of just about like your life and some of the things that you were experiencing, if I'm not mistaken, in the lyrics.
Yeah.
So how can you take us through that process then, and what happened when it did take off?
It's, I don't think anybody predicts their song that's going to make them blow up.
Right.
And you just have to you have to just be in the studio making something for fun. And that level of just like not caring and just being yourself will always translate. I think if you try to make a hit, you usually end up disappointed. And in the case of Young Shahrukh, I had, funny enough, basketball story. I was at a Raptors game. I was at a Raptors game on a Wednesday, and they had won, and I was hype, and it was 10 p.m. and nobody wanted to do anything. This is back when I still had a desk job, and all my friends were just boring. So, it's a Wednesday at 10 p.m. and nobody wanted to do anything. Yeah. Also, fair enough. It's fair. It's Wednesday. So I'm like, okay, let's go home and let's just like make a quick little beat. Bole Trudia was just in my head because I host a lot of house parties at my place. Okay. And like oftentimes we'll just end the night in the kitchen and Bollywood music is playing and the throwbacks are happening. And so I guess Bole Trudia was just in the sphere of a reference in my head. So I just load up Bole Trudia. I'm like, let's just chop this up. And so I just took the and just chopped that up, made a beat. And I was like, well, what do I rap about? I'll just rap about exactly where I was at that point. I had $500 in cash in case they didn't take Amex. They never take Amex. Never. I'm with people all the time and I'm like, you take Amex? And then sometimes somebody would be like the song, you're doing the thing. I'm like, no, I'm literally just trying to pay. And sure enough, they will not take Amex. Yeah, the high merchant fees, they'll get you. But I was like, I had $500 in cash in case they didn't take Amex. And I was talking to a girl at the time that lived in a place called the Annex, who was in a sorority. Like I was just literally describing, I wasn't even trying to be witty with my lyricism. I was just trying to like do something for fun. And I did the first minute of that track and I put it on my Instagram. Didn't think anything of it. I woke up, I had a bigger response on that than anything I had gotten before. And I was like, okay, I think people are like ready to hear me rap, because it's when you're somebody who's come up as a producer, you always have that thing. It's like, am I going to alienate people if I start rapping? You know, because people are coming to you expecting like musical stuff, like the production stuff. So they're used to you being behind the boards. But that was enough of a show of confidence. And I'm like, okay, I think they're ready. Let's turn this into a whole song. I
mean, what you're saying right now reminds me of Drake's recent album where he went, I don't want to say he went house, but there was a lot of house influence and everyone was like, is this what we expect? Is this what we want to see? But give it a few weeks and everyone's all over it now.
Yeah, exactly. He just...
he always drops gold.
Yeah, exactly. He just did what he wanted to do because that's the most organic thing, right? Everybody heard it the first day and they were like, I don't know about this. But now I think Massive is Song of the Summer.
Exactly.
Right? There you go.
Yeah.
It's a smart man. Knows what he's doing. Got Young Shahrukh. Obviously, Jalebi Baby. Yeah, I know there's like a really cool story around that. We'll save the TikTok part for a second, but can you kind of just talk about that as well, how that got started?
Yeah. I mean, it was just, I was home for the holidays. It was December 2019, I think. Was it? Yeah. It's so long ago now. And I had just been away from music for a long time. And the way that I would usually get back into music is like just make like a fun remix, just to, whatever. It's almost like exercise, like just like sparring a little bit. Just like let's just take this track, have some fun, get familiarized with everything, and then go back and actually make a real song. And so I usually just pick what's like a hot song at the moment. At that point, it was "Yummy" by Justin Bieber. Yeah, I'm like, okay, this song's kind of slow. Let's speed it up. I've always really been into Latin music. Let's add a salsa beat. Let's just try to, maybe I'll put a little verse on it. and I just put it out as like a remix of Yummy by Justin Bieber. And then and right before I dropped it, I was like, okay, let's put my own vocals on it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I think something's missing here. Let's try it. And it ended up being that part, the parts with my vocals on it that people ended up liking, which is what influenced me to try to turn it into a full song. So yeah. It's funny, right? It's like you don't
so
ever
crazy.
It's like not one time have I made something and I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna make this song and that's what it's going to be. It's usually some roundabout tale.
Yeah.
But that's how it happens sometimes, right? So
TikTok is obviously a platform that many people in the last 2 years their lives have changed on it.
Yeah.
People who you have no idea who will go viral, who've gone viral,
Mm-hmm.
they're now talented people, individuals all over the world.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that TikTok was a massive platform and something that catapulted your career?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I think like, there's always, there's always an advantage to being an early adopter of any big emerging tech thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were new to Instagram or new to Twitter, you're probably reaping some sort of benefit, whether it's you got a good username or you were able to accumulate more followers in that time or something, right? I think I was I don't want to say like early adopter, but I think I got in and figured out how to use it for music at a good time. So when the song started to blow up, I just tried to figure out exactly what this whole platform was about, and just tried to just keep fueling the fire. I wanted everybody to just share in that moment with me. I saw Jalebi Baby turning into something that was more than just a song for me, because it was as soon as it started to kind of exit the Desi world, was like, okay, I think we have something here.
Yeah.
And the whole reason I even like went forward with the Jason Derulo remix, because the song was doing good before. It was already a hit. People were dancing to it at weddings. Like it was a hit. But you had it at your wedding, right? Exactly. It's like I didn't like, the only reason I wanted to do that is because I wanted to bring our culture, bring a Desi sound into the mainstream. And we hadn't really had that since like, I don't know, J-Ho, right? So like nothing like that in a long time.
That's a throwback too.
Yeah. That's crazy that was the song we're referencing.
Yeah, exactly. That's 2008 to 2021.
And even they did the Pussycat Dolls remix.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like they also did the.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, I think that if we can, try to secure a Western feature on here. And my whole thing was I just want to hear this on the radio. I want to be just driving down the street and I want to hear this on the radio, and they're playing it just because it's a hit record, not because they're supporting a hometown artist or they're supporting this or that. They're playing it because that's what people want to hear.
Just quality.
Exactly, right? That's, no handout, nothing. It's just a song that deserves to be there. So, and that's what happened. And the resulting thing is that I think that a lot of other labels and people have started to see, okay, there is an appetite for it. And now more than ever, crossover records can work. You see the Tory Lanez Diljit record. There's like the whole bunch of different records that are happening now. The only thing is we just got to make sure everybody does it at a high level of quality and we can keep going. I'd hate Jalebi Baby to be the only one that kind of reaches like radio success, and I would hope that we just keep going. Yeah.
Is there a fear around that or a positivity around like the collabs, the cross-cultural collabs? Like Diljit obviously is incredibly popular globally.
Yeah.
Now he's doing Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's progress in the right direction, or guys should try and kind of like stay in their own element and not look for the features? Like, how do you feel about that?
No, look, I'm all about expanding your horizons, trying new things with your music. I think why not? I just think that a lot of times I see people try to make crossover records, but they don't know exactly who their audience is. Like a lot of times you'll see people who will bring in a Western artist, but the song is very much made like with Desi sensibilities and stuff, which is fine. But then don't be disappointed when the song doesn't work anywhere other than India. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's why I always say like it takes I think I have a bit of an advantage because I'm from both worlds. I can see what can work in Canada, America, UK, and also see what works in India, just because I've been born and bred off of Bollywood and Bhangra music, right? So, a lot of times these record labels will try to put these collabs together, and then on paper, they sound like they should be huge global hits, and they don't work, right? Yep. So you just need to, you got to make sure you can mix things together, right? And you also got to look like, I don't know if we are at a place, maybe we are, at a place where we can get like a fully Punjabi record on the radio without any English. I think we're heading in that direction.
Yeah.
But I always see I think we're almost trailing the Latin community.
That's the debate, right? So reggaeton is like mainstream regardless.
Yeah.
So Punjabi is next up?
Here's the thing. The Latin community is also huge in America, right? Uh-huh. A lot of people speak Spanish. Yes. They have, Hispanic heritage and stuff.
Sure.
So there's enough of the population in the biggest music market in the world where like they will just like that kind of music. Like Bad Bunny is the biggest streaming artist in the entire world, right?
Regardless of identity.
Regardless of identity, but very much fueled though. Like the core is that, right? So, but it is the crossover appeal that helps him become really big, because if not, then it would have been Diljit, right? Yeah, but the thing is, Diljit doesn't have all that crossover appeal just yet. So I think that we will get there. We can get there. I think it's important for us to expand our horizons, right? Because if we only stay in our own world, no one from outside will really put in the effort to find us. The average listener won't come and listen to a Bhangra song, but if we do a collab with Tory Lanez or something, or we try to make a song that kind of sounds like kind of half hip hop, half desi, that's a way to bring more people in and start eroding that barrier.
Totally. Yeah. No, I mean, it's so funny. We're talking about crossovers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like basketball crossovers, but it's so key to the discussion around music.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I feel like it's such a big thing that's part of the Brown experience. Like, what was your first crossover moment? Like for me, that was I moved to India in 2008 and Sing is King with Snoop Dogg.
With Snoop.
Right? And that was like the big thing for me, where I was like, we can coexist. And like, I will like both sides of this. And I like felt very different about being Indian origin when I heard that crossover track. And I feel like I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts actually. Like, what was that first crossover track for you guys?
Oh man. If you have
it's actually a really good question. That's why I looked directly at you.
I'm trying to
buy myself time.
And we can get to it later too. I mean, like there's so many out there. There's Akon.
Yeah, I think there's
Akon.
Yeah.
Akon, he's one of my favorites. He's one of my favorites.
Dr. Zeus Kangana, right? That's one too.
Yeah. There's two for me. I mean, obviously when Munde Ato Bachke happened, Beware the Boys, that was huge. Yeah. But I think Chamak Challa was really cool.
Yeah, there it is.
Because I remember, so like when I was in high school, my routine after school every day was I'd go home and I'd check the blogs for new music.
Yeah.
And I would just like check out all the leaks and all that kind of stuff. And this one website I always check was like newjams.net or something like that. Oh my
God, the best.
Yeah.
Datpiff.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow,
Datpiff. Exactly. So there was like a song that they had that day. It was like someday in 2011, and it was Akon Chamak Chalo. And I pressed play, and it's like Akon singing in Hindi. And I called my parents up. I'm like, guys, what the heck is this? This is amazing. And they're like, whoa. Because like this is like Akon is like, he's coming off of Sexy Bitch at this time, right?
He's a legend.
Like he's like top of this game. It's not like we're getting somebody from like they did their thing. Like this is like guy who's top of his game. So and then later on we found out it was for a Shah Rukh Khan movie, and that was crazy. But like
first ever 3D movie in India.
Yeah. So like I think that was I love that's a piece of trivia that you
like 3D first.
The poster of the movie popped up in your head. You're like first 3D movie in India.
Trying to get them more impressions now.
Yeah, exactly.
10 plus years later.
Yeah. But I think that was one that I was like actually there for when it was coming out, because like Munde Ato Bachke I was still pretty young for that. But yeah.
Nice.
And obviously for Jalebi Baby. So I'm a huge Marvel fan. I think we all are.
Yeah.
Before I even get into this, like favorite Marvel character, superhero, who is it?
I mean, it has to be Miss Marvel now.
Okay,
and you're all over the soundtrack there, exactly.
So that obviously great transition to lead in. Like, how'd that happen, man? Like, because I'm sitting down with the wife, we're watching this Miss Marvel. We're super hyper excited, like huge representation, which we talked about.
Sure.
All of a sudden, you're Jalebi Baby. I'm like, yo, this is hype.
Yeah.
And I see, obviously, you're posting about it. So how did that come about?
Yeah. No, I think that they have a, well, first of all, they have an incredible creative team. behind them.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Like Bisha, Sana, all those people are just so talented in what they've been able to accomplish with this.
Right.
Even as I've watched the show, I'm just like, I can't believe the amount of like ways that the efforts that they made to make this really be grounded and seem real in that world, and in that in the South Asian culture, because it's like, there be random like lines where they just say in Urdu, and it's like, that's good because that's actually how parents would talk to their kids. When I talk to my parents, it's like it's a dual language conversation, right? And in past instances of that being shown in Hollywood, usually you just have the brown parents speaking perfect English the whole time, and it's like that's not the way it's going to happen. Yeah. So, and obviously it's tough to do because this is a show for the Hollywood audience. It needs to be mostly in English, but they balance that really well. And they absolutely killed it with their soundtrack. They went in on so many different artists. The way it happened for me was that they had just they literally just reached out and were like, "Hey, we love your song. We're putting together this show. We wanna use it." And I'm like, "Okay, let me know how you guys want to use it." And I heard their idea, and next thing you know, I was able to go to the premiere in the UK, and they showed us the first 2 episodes. And I'm there, and I'm like sitting in the theater screen, and then Jalebi Baby starts playing as these characters are on screen, and I'm like, this started in a bedroom. I will always be like completely bewildered. Like, can you believe this shit? Like,
Unreal,
I don't get it, man. It's like amazing how you just do one thing one day, and like, what if I always think, what if I just went to sleep that day? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure it would have been another record then, but like, seriously, it's just amazing. That moment really made me think, I'm like, I'm in a Marvel project. I remember being in the 7th grade going to see Iron Man with my friends. Yeah, the OG Iron Man. I remember I was cheering in the theater when Endgame came out and the ending battle was there, right? It's like, this has been a thing that has like been with me throughout my adolescence and like teenage years, and now like my song is a part of it. So super surreal, super awesome, and I love the fact that they had so many other South Asian artists be a part of it.
I feel like they made a point to do that.
Absolute, man. They must have had an incredible sync budget. Jesus Christ. Because like, man, they had Riz Ahmed, me, Raja Kumari, bro, they had songs from Pasuri was in there, and Pasuri came out like 2 months before the show. Like they put in a real effort. So kudos to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And obviously one of your, I think, close friends is also a Marvel superhero. Shang-Chi, aka Simu, dope individual. You guys just came off the game in Toronto. How was that whole experience like? I know he helped organize that, but how was that experience going there and playing?
Yeah, no, Simu hit me up and was like, "Hey, we're putting this game together. It's a celebrity classic game. Do you play any basketball?" And I'm like, not really, no. It's been a long time. He's like, well, it's for charity, so you got to do it. I'm like, yeah, okay, come on out. But no, it was so much fun. It was like, at one point, there's a really good picture where it's Jeremy Lin. I'm like catching the ball from Jeremy Lin. Simu's behind me. Ronnie Chang is on the court, and Hasan Minhaj is in the back, and I'm just like, this is like the Avengers here. That's epic. This is like the East Asian, South Asian Avengers here, and I'm just playing basketball with them, and so it was a lot of fun, and it was for a great cause to help fund youth sports initiatives in the East Asian community. And I went to Hasan afterwards. I'm like, man, we gotta get more brown people next time. Yes. They put us on opposite teams because they couldn't have both brown guys on the same team. Because listen, everybody wanted to see Hasan guard me or me guard Hasan. Yeah. And here's the thing, the guy can play. Yeah. Let me tell you, man.
2-time celebrity game guy.
Yeah, man. Hasan Minhaj. Yeah. And also he's tall as hell. Yeah. I don't think it comes across like he is super tall. He can absolutely ball.
He's got a shot for sure.
Yeah, he's got a great shot, man. Like I was in way over my head. I was like, I'll do this for I'm doing it for the culture. I'm doing it for the culture. But yeah, no, that guy. Listen, if comedy doesn't work out, it's the G League is called.
G League
G League for sure.
Nice.
No, comedy will definitely work out. He's go see King's Jester tour right now. Yeah.
I think a cool thing is now that you're part of India Rising, get you in some trainings. get you with some of the guys. We're going to get you
man.
ready for next year's game in Toronto.
Yeah.
We're going to shock the world together.
I know. I got to come out and just be sinking every single shot next year.
Yeah, we got 12 pro athletes ready to give you any training you need.
Yeah.
So
Good.
They got it unlocked.
He's like, I need it.
Yeah.
You know what I got to do? Listen, because if they put my last name on my jersey next year, I'll just give it to Josh or Aryan.
There you go.
We'll just go. Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Just put a little wig on.
Like we have Sharma here. He looks a little different, but that's
Tomahawking from the free throw line at 7 feet. Just is what it is.
I love
he literally is 7 feet, isn't he?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah. So we're
Lord.
a tall team.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
No.
Staying on the basketball side,
Mm-hmm.
when did the love for the game of basketball like really come about?
Mm-hmm. Man, I think when I was really young, my two cousins, they were really huge basketball fans. They had like this cutout of Michael Jordan in their basement. And I just remember seeing that all the time and looking at it and be like, wow, this guy's the coolest. So like, I feel like a lot of my early basketball exposure just came from my cousins and stuff. I didn't really play as much as a kid, but I would always just kind of follow the sport. I think that, and like, I just be a casual NBA watcher, but I think really things started to turn around for me again when I moved to Toronto in like 2016, because the city just loves the Raptors. Like, man, I gotta say, like, I know this might not be a popular opinion, but like Toronto, best basketball city, man. Like
After the championship run, like it's believable.
It's very believable. Come on, man. Like it's like everybody.
Park,
it was insane, man. It was like just the vibe that summer was like something that was just. It was a moment in time, and I think. I mean, everybody will just always remember that. If you were there, you'll always remember being a part of that.
Where were you when Kawhi hit the shot?
Oh God,
you were on the roof, weren't
funny
you?
Enough, no, I was in New York.
Oh,
I was in New York. I took a little like a trip with my boys to New York. It was the first time I've been to New York, and the Raptors were in the series with the Sixers at the time. We're just watching the game. We're in the restaurant. We set up our phones in like a triangle on this, and then we were watching the rest of the game at the hotel. And the shot happens. We just lost our minds. And and then we immediately went right back to Toronto, and we were there for the rest of it. But no, that night, man, I got to tell you, the night that we won. Just like the city was in just pandemonium. Like buses were just stopped in the middle, like, and people were climbing on buses. I climbed on top of like the mall and was looking down. There was no protection. I'm just like, I'm gonna die if the wind hits me. But like, just looking down and seeing all those people was just incredible. And man, it was hilarious. Like I was there, and people like a bunch of Punjabi guys would have their doles. And because that's like cool. Like right, and it's just like cool. Anytime you wanted to know where the party was, you would just listen for like a dole in the.
You'd follow it,
and you'd follow it, and everybody would follow it. Right? It's like white people, black people, brown people, all these people just bonding over the love of basketball. That's awesome. And it's funny because I'm just like dancing to this dole right in the middle of Yonge and Dundas Square, and I look beside me, and it was Just Rain.
Yes.
Wow, no, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
That guy was.
And it was Just Rain. Like this is before like I was Tesher or anything. I was just a regular dude. Yeah. And I'm like, what? And he's like, hey!
That's like his reaction in the vibe.
Yeah. Exactly. And so I'm like, but that's what it was. Everybody was just out and about and enjoying.
That's so cool.
So I know. Sorry to geek out a little bit.
No. We're here with you on that.
That was the moment I'm like, that's the power of basketball. That's the power that this game can have on people to bring people together.
Yeah.
So
I just want to say this is random, but like Just Rain, he had his reign of time. He's a legend.
He's a legend. Man.
I don't know where you are. Maybe we can surface with him one day and chat. But like, so many of his videos were like viral, and he was that dude.
Yeah, man.
Coming up. So, anyways, not to get too far off that.
The original brown baller.
OG brown baller.
He is the OG.
As we get close to wrapping up here, obviously we talked about the ballers and kind of redefining that term.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get too deep, but the entrepreneurial side, you're experiencing it, you're building your entire foundation literally by yourself, right? What have you been learning? Like, what has been the biggest takeaway so far in the last couple of years?
Oh man, Jesus, there's a lot, man. I feel like I've gone through every up and every down in the past 2 years. Life has really been in the fast lane for sure. I think you just gotta make sure that your inner voice is always stronger than your outer voice. Because if the day that your inner voice is stronger than the outside voices, you've mastered your life, really. I think at that point, then you can really will yourself into doing anything, into always being in a good mind frame. I think just making sure that you're just staying positive, staying focused, and as much as possible, I've learned just try to like focus on the craft at least like for a little bit every single day. Which sounds like it's an easy thing to do, but I've learned as I'm traveling now, it's like there'll be days where I just like don't get to open the laptop and make some music. And I think like that's just like for me, if I just make a little bit of music every day, I just feel really good about myself. I feel excited about the future. And anytime where I'm feeling low or I'm feeling down, that's where I'm like, okay, no, this is what I do. And this is what puts me in a whole different zone. So same thing, if you love basketball and you play a little basketball every day, that's just always going to be, good for your mental health, just good for you. If you're a singer, you sing every single day, you're going to feel good, right? So make some time. Just because you love something, you got to put in the effort and actually make the time for it every single day. Yeah.
You're so well spoken. That was inspirational.
I don't know if
the bar. That was many bars.
Yeah.
What's funny is my next question was gonna be like, what piece of advice do you have for like young artists, producers, musicians? But you just dropped like 17 bars, so I think that sums up that question pretty well.
Listen, it's all in your head. Thoughts become things. You just gotta make sure you have. You just gotta be thinking about what you want and be focused on that. A lot of people. They're like, oh man, I'm gonna make it. And it's one thing to be like, I'm gonna make it and I don't know how, but you gotta at least have something to aspire towards, something tangible, at least something to be like, that's the goal. Because if you don't have any kind of aim, then you're aimless. Where else are you gonna go? So even if it's like, oh, I wanna be like, I always had the dream, I wanna be played on mainstream radio, right? And that dream endured even past radio being as relevant as it was. Now it's all about Spotify. But some way, somehow, with Jalebi Baby, it happened. And that ended, and the remix was like I said, that was one of the guiding reasons why I took the opportunity to make the remix, because I remembered my old goal from way back in the day, which was to be played on the radio. I'm like, oh, this is what'll actually make that happen. So if you have those goals marinating in your head, things will come to you in life that will be the way to get there. So that's why it's important to always have those goals in your head. So
inspiration.
I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm holding back a tear, man. But just so you know, I got two last things for you. We're gonna end off on a high note, hopefully.
Okay.
Was performing live at the Junos like for the first time with Simu and everything? Was that like one of the highest highs you've had in your career thus far, or is there something else in your mind that's topped that?
That was fun. I think there was definitely a higher high. I'll be honest, I think the highest high was right the second before we were shooting for Jalebi Baby, and I look beside me, I have Jason Derulo beside me. I look behind me, I have a team of incredibly talented dancers.
Yeah.
And they're all dressed in brown attire. A lot of them are they're brown. We had a brown stylist. I'm like, what we're about to do here is really something special.
Yeah.
And it's what I have been trying to do for my entire life.
Yeah.
It's like, if like I did it, like at that moment, I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted to do since I was 6 years old. And like, I could retire after this. I did what I had to do. Bro. And
that makes so much sense.
Yeah, and if you look at the Jalebi Baby music video, if you go back and look at my face when we hit the Bhangra, I am just like, I'm so happy. Yeah. I was supposed to like look cool and be like, I don't fucking look cool at all. I am just glowing with happiness. So that was for sure probably the most memorable moment, probably the highest moment.
We didn't touch on it, but the representation in that video, the way you guys did the costumes, the outfits, like everything in that, like you just said, was like so peak and so important for like the culture and keep moving things forward.
It's only going to get better. Only gonna get better.
There you go. So I'm excited for that.
Sure. I'll be honest. I watched the music video now and I'm just like, oh, that could have been better. Maybe we could have done this better. But it's like, that's what we got to do on the next one. That's what we got to keep moving and keep doing these projects on bigger and bigger scales. Yeah.
I'm going to throw something at you, a little curveball here.
Okay.
You're a TikTok aficionado. You've been on the platform. You're killing it. You're growing. What is your favorite TikTok dance? And would you show it here?
Oh no! Oh no!
Because I know there's a lot that you like. I know you're probably practicing.
No,
in
bro,
the room.
I don't do TikTok dances, man. I make the music for people to do the dance.
There you go.
He's a facilitator.
You're the facilitator.
I'm
Okay.
the facilitator.
Going back to the DJ
But
setup.
what is just for something? What is your favorite? What's been the favorite dance?
Oh man, I think it's God, I can't even think of a single. I'll tell you what it is. I actually made a dance once for Jalebi Baby.
Okay.
I just like I fully kind of did it as like a joke video because I'm like, and I captioned it. Look at the shit I have to do to promote my music, and I just like made up a dance and I was just doing these things. And the funniest thing is, I made this video for fun, and then they ended up showing it like on the news when the song got viral on like national Canadian news.
Seriously?
And I'm like, if I would have known,
You would have
God.
planned it a little
Yeah,
bit.
so that's my favorite dance. I'm not gonna do it for you because I don't remember, but yeah.
No, fair enough. We'll dig up the video later. But Tesher, man, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you for having
coming
me.
on.
Thank you for
You
having
have
me.
been, like, honestly, like I said, so unreal. Like, you're so down to earth, you're so well spoken. We appreciate how much you're supporting India Rising.
For sure.
As you know, we're literally about to head to the gym.
Yes.
30 minutes from now, we're gonna play live on ESPN. We're gonna turn up. We're gonna win. You're gonna be right there with us. Let's go have some fun.
All right.
Thank you again. Obviously, we hope to have you back in the future. Keep
sure.
building this relationship, this connection. This has been the Brown Ballers podcast. A very special guest here. Please make sure you follow Tesher on all platforms. Check out his new music. I know he's got a lot cooking up and coming soon. And until next time, this has been another episode sponsored by Tidal.